My name is Leah Odada. I'm an International Admissions and Recruitment Officer here at Carleton University. I'm also a proud Carleton alumni, so I actually came to Carleton as an international student. I did communication and media studies. I loved my experience at Carleton so much, so it gives me great joy to be able to talk to students who are potentially considering a similar journey. And during this section, we'll just be talking about how to choose your program because we know that can be a very overwhelming decision. But even after choosing your program, there's so many ways that you'll be able to enhance your program to make sure you maximize on all the benefits that Carleton and Canada have to offer. And you'll get to hear from some of our students who've also lived this experience and what they have to share. So I'll be kicking us off. And first, I would like to introduce some of the students that will be joining me today. So starting us off will be Perth. Perth, feel free to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, hope you're having a good day from wherever in the world you are joining us from. I'm Parth and I come from Bombay, India, and this is my third year studying computer science honors, and I recently also switched into the cybersecurity stream.
Amazing. And I will definitely be asking you about that switch because I know a lot of students have questions about that. Anna, introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be talking to everyone today. I am Anna. I am from Mexico City, and I'm in my fourth year doing a double honors major in biology and biotechnology.
Amazing. And the double major question is something we get a lot. So we'll be interested to hear about Anna and that decision to do a double major. We may also have Tracy joining us shortly. I don't think she's in yet, but she will be joining us shortly as well. But we always recognize it's always good to hear from current students because you're probably very curious about that journey and what that could look like. And they've recently lived it and they're happy to share those experiences. So just to kick things off, so when you're looking at choosing your program, there are probably so many factors to consider. Some of the things that maybe you're looking at is what are your interests? There are probably some subjects that you really enjoy taking in high school right now, and that you think, okay, this could potentially be something I would love to pursue even further at the university level. If you're passionate about physics, you're passionate about math, maybe you see like an engineering career in your future. If you're passionate about the sciences, maybe you potentially see a healthcare decision around the future. If you just love to read, you love literature, maybe that's a passion that you might potentially be able to make into a career. So when you're looking at different factors, having your interest, something you're passionate about, is a really big factor to consider because if you're going to be studying for 4 years or 3 or 4 years, it's always good to have a very strong passion about what you're about to pursue. Maybe you have some skills. I know there's some students out there who have key skills. Maybe you have skills in programming, computers. Maybe you are the kid who likes to take things apart just to see how you can put things back together. So you probably have a skill that you're very keen to do. That could be something that you're potentially looking to explore as a career. So if there's certain skills that you've already started to build and you want to be able to kind of harness them into a potential career, that is a really good factor to take into consideration because that can play a very key role in potentially choosing what programs you would like to do. And of course, there are other external motivating factors. And a big one could be potentially finances. Maybe you want to go into a field where there is a huge return on investment. You want to be able to set yourself up for success, and money could be a very big motivating factor. I'll be honest, I like money. I'll put two hands up. So when it comes to potential careers, of course, you want to choose a path where you know there'll be a good return on that investment. Another motivating factor could be you really want to help people. You're passionate about helping people. You're passionate about making an impact. You're passionate about leaving your mark in this world. So that can be something that you take into consideration. Family plays a huge factor as well. I've met a lot of students who have chosen their career path based on something that they've been inspired by, either watching their parents do a similar career path, and that has really motivated them to kind of also go down a similar path. So that can be another factor that you look into. What are your motivating factors? You can kind of start to put all of this together and start to see, okay, so my interest lies in this area. I know I have certain skills. And a big factor that motivates me, of course, is like the return on that investment or the fact that my family is really connected to this field. Those are some of the factors that a lot of people take into consideration when they're looking to choose a program. And of course, there's the realities of the world. We don't live in isolation. We know that there are certain realities you have to take into consideration when you're picking a program. So, what are the realities? Is there a labor market for the career you're looking to go into? There was a period in time where computer science was a very huge program, high in demand, but it now, for maybe a factor that you consider is that there's a huge labor market for them. So a lot of people are in that field. So maybe you're looking at how can I set myself apart and the reality of like how can I get a job after graduation? What are some of the things that I can do to be able to set myself up for success in a very competitive market? Or maybe another reality is that there's just not a high demand or there is a high demand for this specific field. I know in Canada right now, there are certain fields that are very high in demand, one of them being healthcare. So maybe a big reality is that you're looking at potentially doing healthcare because the prospects of getting a job after graduation are quite high. So that's something to consider. Some other prospects that a lot of students are considering is that if I am coming to Canada, and I hope to stay in Canada after graduation, what are some of the career paths that would make it easier for me to be able to get the immigration pathways? That could be a reality that you're considering. Or maybe looking at your home country, what are some of the high in demand sectors that would be potentially worthwhile to be able to study? Because you know, going back home, there's a high probability of getting an employment after that. So that is something that a lot of students take into consideration when they are looking at choosing a program. And there are many other factors that you can take into consideration. These are just some of the key ones that we mentioned. I would be curious to ask our students, and I'll start with Anna. When you were choosing your program, what were the factors that you took into consideration?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I remember mainly I wanted to do something related to biology. I wasn't really like decided on what it would be. So I originally came into Carleton only in biology, and through my like experience with profs and after learning a bit more about like the different streams that I could go into, I kind of realized that biotechnology was something that I was really interested in. So I really enjoyed seeing that Carleton could like facilitate like a switch into like a different stream or like to add that double major into like what I originally already had. I was also really motivated by the scholarships that Carleton had to offer. That was a really big deciding factor in like the overall like why I decided to come, as well as just the location. I found like the campus very beautiful and the city very calm. So I wanted something around that instead of like, for example, Toronto or Montreal, which is more busy. So that's basically all that convinced me to come here.
And those are really great factors to take into consideration because when you're looking at a program to study, you also want to be able to see what institutions offer those programs, what is the study environment for those programs as well. So there are very many factors that kind of go into the research. So thank you for highlighting that, Anna. Parth, when you were choosing your program, what were the factors that led you to choose computer science? And yeah, let us know that journey.
As Leah already mentioned, one of the factors was me breaking things apart, checking how they were made, and trying to put them back again into an improvised form, basically. And I was confused in high school too. I switched from a lot of fields and realized by studying different fields that which one I wanted to study. And one of the great things about Carleton is that it gives you a lot of flexibility in choosing. So as I said, I recently switched into cybersecurity stream. I did that in my third year, and I was permitted to do that at Carleton. And that made me really happy because I wasn't stuck into doing just an honors, and I could improvise my degree program into something that I really wanted to do.
Amazing. I love that you mentioned the flexibility because I know a lot of students are probably in high school and there's a lot of pressure to choose your program at the age of 16, 17. And you might change your mind or you might discover, okay, there's a different way for me to be able to tackle my program. One of the great reasons why a lot of people choose Canada is because there's a lot of flexibility in terms of changing your program. And it doesn't necessarily change your trajectory or your graduation year because a lot of the credits can be transferred into the new program. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of like you can apply to a program and if you change your mind, there is that flexibility to be able to shift how you do your program. And there's a lot of support. I don't know if you talked to maybe a potential academic advisor before you made the switch. Was
I
that
did
something that
that, yes, and they really give you a lot of confidence.
That's good to hear. Yes. So for a lot of students who are probably considering something like that, you will be able to have a lot of support. We have our academic advising support. Your departments also have academic advisors. They would be there to help you have these discussions if you're thinking about how can I adjust my program or make any specific changes. That's something definitely to consider. So Parth, thank you for highlighting the flexibility. Tracy, I see you've joined us. Welcome, Tracy. We'd love to know what were the motivating factors that you took into consideration when you were choosing your program?
Yes, definitely. For me, one of the main things I knew from even high school was that I wanted to do business. I had taken business courses in high school and just done that throughout. And I also wanted something that had a hands-on experience. So with my program is international business, they allow us to go on exchange, and that was something that I was really interested in learning or just experiencing. I also was not too sure about what to do after like Carleton. So then I was thinking, what do I do after university? I need a program that is just open and it's not too restrictive. Like it doesn't hold me down to a certain job after school. So I just basically went for international business because I also wanted that freedom to be able to choose whatever I wanted to do after university as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. There are some programs that definitely have a little open and flexibility in terms of future career paths that you can consider. So that is something also to take into consideration is that there may be some programs out there that can potentially allow you to work in different or multiple fields. So that can be something a lot of students take into consideration when they're selecting their programs. Now, I'm going to highlight a little bit about programs at Carleton because you've heard a lot from our students in different faculties, so sciences and business. Carleton has quite a number of different programs that we offer, and I'm just going to highlight some of them quickly, but there's going to be some terminology that you'll probably hear quite often. So, for example, we'll hear faculties. So we have 5 different faculties, and for anyone who's probably curious, like what is a faculty? Faculty is made up of different departments that kind of revolve around a specific theme or subject. So you'll notice that we have the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. That faculty is specifically just made up of programs that are related to the arts and the social sciences. So you'll see programs like psychology, sociology, women and gender studies, those type of programs. You will also see engineering and design. Engineering and design is made up of programs within like mechanical engineering, mechatronics, aerospace, civil, our design programs, architecture, industrial design. So they tend to be grouped together within that one faculty. And the list goes on and on. You'll see our Sports School of Business, our science program faculty, and our public affairs faculty. You might notice a bit of similarities. I think for a long time, a lot of people always confuse the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences with the Faculty of Public Affairs. There may be some similarities, but they are grouped separately based on specific subjects that they really much overlap with or specific themes. So, for example, economics, communication, and media studies. Those are homed in the Faculty of Public Affairs. So when you're looking at a program, you'll notice that you are going to be grouped within a specific faculty. And at Carleton, some of those things that could be, some of the advantages of having the faculty ties is that you have faculty-specific orientation events, you have faculty-specific societies that support that faculty. And societies are always related to the program or the faculty at hand. So you'll notice that we have a engineering faculty. The Faculty of Engineering has its own orientation. It also has its own society, which does host a lot of events that are related to specifically to the program, like networking events, meeting your professors and things like that. So the first key thing you'll notice is our faculties. And then after our faculties, we drop down to our bachelor degrees. So you'll notice that Carleton has 26 bachelor programs. And within the bachelor programs, we do have what we call majors. So within the majors, you will see that we have over 150 different majors that you can choose from. And within the majors, you'll notice that you can also add a minor on top of that. So a minor gives you a bit of exposure to a specific program, and it doesn't necessarily have to be related to your minor. So for example, we've had students who've done a degree in business, but have added a minor in media production, or they've done a minor in music. A minor can be something that you're very interested in doing that can help enhance your degree program, or it can be a passion that you're very just interested in having included into your degree program. So that's something else that a lot of students tend to do. And we'll talk to some of our students about if they've added a minor or how they've customized their degree shortly. On top of that, we are a very comprehensive university. So we want to make sure that you are getting a very comprehensive educational background. So you'll notice that we have something called electives. And in all of our programs, students may have elective requirements. Electives tend to be very open-ended. These can be programs, these can be courses in different programs that you are taking that are not necessarily related to your major. So for example, you can take electives in passion projects or passion courses. Maybe there's something that you just thought would be a very interesting course. Or maybe electives can be a course that you think will be an easy A. Electives are very flexible and they're very much on you at your discretion. Some faculties, of course, will tell you they want you to take electives in specific areas. So for example, within the Bachelor of Arts, there'll be specific requirements to take electives in what we call 4 breadth areas. And that's going into so much detail, but once you apply, if you do apply to those faculties, you'll notice that there are some electives that they do want you to take, like 2 electives in the sciences, 2 electives in engineering, just to give you that very comprehensive background. Or some programs, it's very open-ended. You can pick whatever electives you would like to do. And then you'll notice we have something called streams. So a stream, for example, would be, let's say you take the Bachelor of Arts and you choose a Bachelor of Psychology, a major in psychology. Within psychology, there are 5 different streams that you can choose from. So 5 different streams just gives you extensive knowledge in that specific area. And typically that tends to be in your upper years. So for example, let's say you choose social psychology. Within your second and third year, you'll start to begin to focus more on the social psychology aspect of it. So streams tends to give you a bit more focus in a specific area. You might notice it's also called a concentration, or it might be called something different at a different university, but we tend to call them streams or concentrations. So you'll notice that when you're choosing your programs and you're choosing your majors, you'll also have an opportunity to choose a specific area of focus. You'll still be getting extensive knowledge in a broad range of like the program, but there are going to be opportunities where you can customize and focus extensively on your specific area of interest. And then we have a list of our programs here. So as I mentioned, Carleton has 26 bachelor degree programs. So we have a wide range of programs across different areas. So if you're interested in the STEM programs, if you're interested in the social sciences, there are many opportunities for you to be able to choose your program. And I'm going to give you an example of what we talked about. So we have our bachelor's degree, which is in the faculty, let's say, of engineering. So we have our faculty of engineering. And within engineering, you'll notice that we have a number of different majors. And some of those majors might be very similar. They may overlap in certain topics, but then students have the opportunity to be able to select a specific major. Here, you'll notice that some majors are also combinable. So you'll notice that we may have some double majors available. So for example, we have our biomedical major in engineering, which is available as a double major with biomedical and mechanical, biomedical and electrical. Some programs already have the double major already included, like we've already created it. Some programs you may have to be able to just create it on your own. Within engineering, it's not as flexible. So some programs are a bit rigid in how they do the flexible customization. You can only go into a double major that's already created for you, for example, in the Faculty of Engineering. But other programs, you might be able to do the double major. You can choose to do it yourself. So you can choose to create your double major. Computer science is not one of them. I just wanted to show another example of how you can build your degree. So we have computer science, which has 8 different majors. We also have another one we just added for computer science. It's the UI experience. We also have, for example, maybe you're looking at STEM programs, which you want more of the Bachelor of Information Technology. You can also choose that aspect as a program if that is where your interest lies. And then you can add a minor. So here you have your major, which is your main focus. And then you also want to have a minor to be able to enhance your degree. A minor gives you a bit of knowledge in a specific area. So if you're looking to kind of enhance your degree or maybe just do a passion in minor in something you're passionate about, you can always add a minor to any of our programs. And then we have the opportunity to create double majors. So for example, within the Bachelor of Commerce, you can do a double major if you're interested in multiple areas. So you can combine accounting and finance and then add a minor in design. Or you can do entrepreneurship and marketing and add a minor in communication and media studies. There are very many ways that you can customize your degree to suit the career goals that you have. All of you are very unique. So the way that you build your degree might be very unique as well. And then you can choose electives in specific courses that kind of tailor towards your minor, or you can just choose electives based on your interests. As you can see, there's quite a number of majors that are also available as a minor at Carleton. So you can add any one of these majors as a minor. As I mentioned, a minor is just something that you get a bit of knowledge in that area. It is added in your degree when you graduate. So it'll tell you that you graduated, let's say, with a degree in engineering with a minor in business. So something that you can definitely do and customize is adding a minor from any of the majors that are available at Carleton. And then there's some programs that are just exclusively available as a minor that you can add. So a very big popular one right now is like the digital humanities one, which is very popular. We have added a couple of additional minors that are not on this list. So you may notice that there's some that you will see when you're applying that may not be available here. But we do have quite a wide range of minors that students are able to add on to their degree programs. And on top of that, one thing that we want to make sure is that when you graduate, you have a wealth of experience to show potential employers. So you'll notice that all of our programs have some form of work experience that you can add on. We have something called cooperative education, short for co-op. This is very unique to Canada. Co-op allows you to take time off school, work full-time in the industry. This is an industry related to your field. You're working full time, a typical 9 to 5 of someone in that industry. Then you're coming back, finishing your degree, and graduating. Co-op placements are paid work experience. It's different from internships because co-op, we actually want you to get that real hands-on work experience of someone who's actually in that field. So you're kind of getting like entry-level experience of someone who may be related in that field. You're also not attending classes while you're doing co-op. When you're doing co-op, you're just working like someone who is in the field, a 9 to 5. And then once you're done with your co-op placements, you come back and then you continue and finish your degree. Co-op is not mandatory, but it is strongly encouraged, and many of our programs do have the co-op option because we recognize there's so much value in that hands-on work experience. It allows you to put into practice what you're learning in the classroom, but it also allows you to be able to build work experience that you can show potential employers after graduation. And then we have internships. Internships generally are unpaid. When you're doing internships, you're still going to classes, so it's not full-time work experience. Internships can range, so they could be related specifically to the program you're doing. They could give you like entry-level experience. It can vary across depending on where you get the internship. We have a co-op department that helps you get the co-op placements. Internships, you can always get them either directly through your department or even independently. If you have an opportunity to apply for internships across the field, you can apply directly, but you'll still be attending classes, and generally internships are unpaid. We also have opportunities for research placements. So if you are a student who's maybe in the sciences or a program that's very heavy in research, even if you're in the undergraduate level, there's still going to be an opportunity for you to be able to do a research placement. So a lot of students worry that they can only do research once they're in the master's level. That is not the case. And I know we'll hear from Anna, who's had an opportunity to do some research placements during the summer. So research placements are available. You can work with your professors. A lot of your professors are doing research in their fields, and they do have a lot of students that they do bring on board to help support that research. And then you also have opportunities for things like field work. We may be able to take you on an excursion to a specific place, and you'll get to do some research there, some real life work experience in the field. We also have capstone projects. Capstone projects are mandatory. So capstone projects is an opportunity for you to be able to showcase everything that you've learned in the program. And a lot of our programs do have capstone requirements. So for example, engineering, media production and design, architecture, a lot of the heavy design programs will have a capstone requirement. That is mandatory. You will need to complete that in order to graduate. And then we also have something called practicums. Practicums are mandatory work experience that you have to fulfill in order to graduate from the program. So you'll notice, for example, nursing, that has a practicum requirement. Psychology, that has a practicum requirement. So typically these are for course credit, but they do build a vast amount of work experience in the field. We always place you in a specific place for a certain period of time where you will then have to be able to work there successfully to be able to get the course credit. And of course, we have volunteer opportunities, and that's a great way to be able to kind of put into practice some of the things that you're learning in the classroom. So for example, you can be volunteering for a club, doing their social media, or you can be doing event planning. Those are great ways to build that experience outside the classroom. And exchange opportunities. Some of our programs have a very global connection to them. So, for example, international business, global and international studies, where you do have to go and exchange because that is really part of the way that we want you to immerse yourself in that program and benefit from the global perspectives of the world. So, exchange opportunities are mandatory for some programs, but they are also available as options for students who would like to be able to just go and exchange and experience something different. That's another way that you'll be able to customize your degree and build that experience. From all of this, you can see that you're unique, your degree is unique, so you'll be able to build your degree by adding your major. You can do a double major. After that, you can add a minor. And then you can choose a specific stream or concentration to be able to focus extensively on that specific area. And then you want to add on the work experience. So you have the opportunity to be able to put into practice everything you're learning in the classroom and show potential employers that I have a lot of experience within this area and I bring a lot, even though I've just graduated to the workforce. And then you have things like fourth year projects. So these are some of the ways that you can enhance your degree to be able to show and just something to show of your 4 years at Carleton or for your 4 years at university to be able to demonstrate that I have been able to build more than just a classroom experience. And this is some of the ways that you'll be able to demonstrate that. And so now I'm very excited to hear from our students because they've been able to do this in lived experiences, but we want to hear some of the ways that they've been able to enhance their degree. Tracy, we'll start with you. Talk about your exchange experience. I know that was part of your program, or any other ways that you've enhanced your degree.
Yes, perfect. So as Leah mentioned, I did international business as my program, and that involved me going on exchange to France. So basically, how you pick the countries just based on the language you take during your first 2 years, because you get to go on exchange in your third year. And one main thing about it, or what I majorly got from exchange, was how to be independent and how to work in a team with people from different countries, because my school was Emily on Business School, and it was open to people all over the world. So it wasn't just um, us from Carleton and the French students. It was people from all over the world. So we got to just basically be in an environment and figure out how to work with people from different cultures and just talk to them in different languages, figure out what we're both saying and how to cooperate in the same environment. Again, it just had like a different class experience. The teaching ways were different and we just got the chance to maneuver that as well. I also was in the social impact hub for Carleton, the Sprout students, which allowed us to go on to Italy, and we worked on the business side of an organization that deals with children with cancer. And all of these, I think, really helped me know what path to go through because I came to Carleton not knowing what career path I wanted to do after university. And now, like, I know what path I want to go to and what I need to focus more on. So,
Amazing. So it's good to hear that those experiences also shaped how you kind of progressed your degree. So that's always a really big reason as to why enhancing your degree with such opportunities can be a good idea. Perth, tell us a little bit about how you've enhanced your degree. I know you're in co-op. You can talk about the work experience or other ways that you've enhanced your degree.
Yeah, hello. So, apart from just class studies, a lot of the courses in computer science require you to think on your own. So they would give you some requirements about a project, but wouldn't give you ideas about the project. So you have to come up by yourself on ideas about what you want to build. And that makes it so that every student builds something unique and has something unique in their own degree. Um, Also, I got involved into working as a TA in computer science, and that also has enhanced my time at Carleton. It's got me connected to a lot of great-minded people. And even though I'm not in business, I understand that connections are really, really important in your career. So having some work ethics and work experience along with connections here at Carleton itself has enriched my degree.
Amazing. I love that you mentioned that the courses itself also kind of help enhance your creativity because a lot of the courses you take at Carleton, they are also going to have that either opportunities for work experience embedded in it, or you'll also have opportunities to just be very creative with it. A lot of the courses, the faculties that teach the courses, they work in the field and they bring a lot of that experience into the classroom. And that does tend to benefit the students as well because you're also getting to get that firsthand work experience either through your professors and the courses and the assignments that they're putting together. So you'll notice that even a lot of the courses you're taking are built towards helping you prepare for the careers that you're going into. Anna, I know you've done a bit of research as research placements this summer. Maybe talk a little bit about how that has helped enhance your degree, or maybe other ways that you've enhanced your degree.
Yeah, of course. Well, as you mentioned, like in the classroom, even, at least in science, aside from the lectures, you also get lab experience. And that can be very beneficial because if you don't know how to like handle specific materials or you haven't learned how to use a microscope, even like they teach you like from the very basis and you can build up from that. And as for my placement in the summer, I just basically went around talking to professors who were usually very open and excited to talk about all of their research experience or whatever they're working in right now. And I got opportunities with two of my professors that I really enjoyed a lecture in and kind of like felt that their research resonated with what I was interested in. And worked with them during the summer, kind of like as a summer research or like intern kind of thing. Um, and I gained a lot of experience because I got to do stuff outside of like the classroom lab. I got to learn from PhD students, postdoc students, as well as just my professors who are the private investigators. And I also got to learn a lot more about like the area in which their research is like focused on. So it really broadened like my understanding and idea of like everything I could go into once I graduate or like which areas I could focus in. And that was really interesting and I really enjoyed it.
I love that you took the initiative to be able to connect with your professors because I think a lot of students might be afraid to do that. But I think that just speaks to the fact that sometimes your professors are very open and welcoming to be able to have conversations with you and be able to kind of assist and see where how they can help partner with you to set you up for success. And like Anna, taking the initiative and just reaching out to them and connecting with them is such a great way to be able to you never know what could come from that. So what we probably thought was just a conversation led to a great opportunity for you for the summer. And I think that encourages a lot of students is that when you get to university, take the initiative, connect with your professors. I know a lot of faculties are host a lot of events to connect students and professors. And as Parth mentioned, networking is so important. Getting connected with the people in the field, getting connected with those even who may not be in your program, but could potentially help connect you with people that could help you with your career. It's going to be very vital to be able to build those skills because they do help in the workplace. Sometimes the way you get a job is just based on who you not networked with and connected with, because that could be a great way to be able to learn about opportunities that are available. Um, you've heard about our programs, you've heard about how you can enhance your degree, you've heard about some of the ways that students have been able to put that into practice. If you're hearing something about Carleton and you're like, I'm really interested in this university, we do have a couple of information about how you can apply to Carleton. One thing we'd love to mention is that for many of our programs, there are specific academic requirements that you'll need to meet. So I was just looking at the list, and there's a lot of interest in like the sciences, arts, social sciences, business. Many of you have your own motivating factors that are leading you to be able to choose specific areas. So when it comes to applying to Carleton, there are specific program requirements, and we have a great tool on our website that allows you to be able to select your academic background, your program of interest, get details, and see exactly what you need to be able to exactly what you need to do to be able to be eligible for admission. So I recommend if you're looking at any program at Carleton, use this tool or any program in Canada. This tool would be a great way to be able to know what the general requirements are in Canada for specific programs. So let's say you're interested in engineering. It will let you know that we need math, physics, and chemistry at the senior level to be eligible for engineering. So I recommend using this admission requirements tool. Admission to Canada is generally very straightforward. So when you're looking to apply, these are some of the things that you'll need to take into consideration. For some people, you might need a language proficiency requirement. You might need to submit either a language proficiency test or demonstrate that you have 3 years of full-time studies in an English-speaking country in a fully English-speaking curriculum. And we have more details about our English requirements available on our website. Feel free to scan the QR code or visit the link. And then when it comes to applying, the process is pretty straightforward. Students would complete an online application either through Carleton 360 or the Ontario University Application Center. Once you submit your application, you'll be requested to upload specific documents that relate to your academic background. Once we have all the documents we need, we will continue to monitor your application, because when we make a decision, you will be notified and then you'll be able to view the decision. The documents that you need to submit, of course, will vary. Some of our programs have additional requirements like architecture, music, any of our design programs, nursing. So it's always good to take that look at our admissions website just to know what exactly you need to have when you're looking to apply. And I mentioned that there were two ways to apply. So the first way is through our direct portal, which is Carleton 360. So Carleton 360 allows you to apply to two programs directly on our website, and you can select two program choices. If you're only applying to Carleton, we recommend this option. If you're applying to more than one university in the province of Ontario, we would recommend the Ontario University Application Center. That allows you to apply to 3 schools or 3 programs. It's 166 Canadian dollars, but there is an additional processing fee as well, so something to keep in mind. That's just a quick overview of what are the factors to consider when you're looking to apply to Canada, and what are some of the things to consider when you're looking to choose your program. We have a really great tool on our website. So this tool is not scientifically backed in any way, but it's a good way to kind of give you a general idea of maybe what programs might be of interest to you. It asks you a bunch of questions about your interests, like some of the things like your motivating factors, your interests, your skills. And then it'll give you a good idea of like some of the programs that might work really well for your interests, your program, your skills. So if you want to take a look, this tool works out really well because it chose the exact program I did for me. So it might be able to give you a good idea of like maybe some of the programs that might align really well with your specific interests. And that is a quick wrap up on how to choose your program. I'm going to leave some room for questions since we have a bit of time. I'm just going to quickly look at the chat just to see what questions we are getting. If you have questions for our students, if you have questions for us, please feel free to put them in the Q&A section or in the chat right now. So let's see if we have some general questions that we can answer for the audience here. So one thing I would love to ask Anna is, just because I noticed there are some questions about the double major. Is doing a double major, does it add more work to your course load? Does it make it a bit more expensive? Or how has it been managing doing a double major? Anna, if you can talk about the double major experience, and I can answer some of the other admin related questions about that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the double major, I didn't find that it added like a lot more time, or like it was harder, because it mainly like combined two, like, I don't know how to explain it, like two parts that had kind of like the same background. So I could do like the entire biology section, and that was also included in the biotechnology thing. So even though it's like not two separate degrees, but like one degree that includes both majors, it like still has a lot of like it still builds a lot of like strong knowledge in like the two fields that I'm interested in, and I felt that it could like open more opportunities, while at the same time not being more difficult or more like heavy on the workload and everything that I'm experiencing. And I also found it was, for myself at least, a bit better than doing a minor, because it had like equal depth in both the areas of study, so both biology and biotechnology, instead of in a minor where it's a little more like less focused in like the concepts or like the core. And I think that's what makes it really great, because you get a lot of like depth and a lot of like information, and it's like really focused, while at the same time not being like overworking or too difficult.
Amazing. So yes, you did touch on a couple of important things. So when you're adding a double major, it's typically related to the same field of study that you're doing, or closely related. So for example, when you're doing a double major, there has to be in the same degree program. So for example, if you're doing Bachelor of Arts, your majors, we have 30 majors in Bachelor of Arts. You can do a double major combining the two majors within the same Bachelor of Arts. So you can't necessarily do a double major with, let's say, Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Engineering. That's not how the double major would work. They're generally in the same field of study. It doesn't add more time because when you're doing a double major, it might just mean you're doing less electives and you're now focused on two different programs. So it doesn't add more time. It's not more expensive because our payment is based on like the number of courses you're taking, not the number of like double like programs you're taking. And you can still add a minor on top of a double major as well. That is something that is still possible. Typically, when you customize your degree like that, it just means that you might be taking fewer electives or you're building your degree towards meeting the requirements for both programs within, and like it's still going to be within the same length of time, 4 years. So when you're adding like double majors that are already pre-built by us, we already have the courses set out for you. And even if you were to customize and choose your own double major, we would still have an outline that allows you to be able to meet the requirements within the 4 years length of time. So you never have to worry about the duration being extended. That being said, for people who add things like co-op, it does extend your duration a bit because you will be taking time off school to work full-time in the industry. So if you do add something like co-op, it may add an extra semester or an extra year, depending on maybe if you came in with some credits or if you're how you structure your programs or how the program structures it. So co-op, for example, tends to start in the summer of your second year for most of our programs, but it could still add an extra semester because you might take the fall to work full time or you might take the winter to work full time. So there might be some things that may add an extra additional semester or year based on how the program is structured. And the great thing is we have a lot of support and academic advisors who will be able to let you know in advance what that could look like. Somebody did ask a good question. Is co-op guaranteed? In the real world, is a job guaranteed? So we partner with a lot of different companies. So we do have partners that we have for our co-op programs. And co-op is kind of built to mimic the real world. So we bring the companies, we have the partnerships, but just like the real world, you have to apply for the co-op positions. You have to go and interview. You have to be able to sell yourself to be able to get that job. So when students are applying for things like co-op opportunities, they will have to go through like the resume building process. They will have to go through the interview process and be selected for those jobs. That being said, you're only competing against your classmates in that group. So when you're applying for co-op positions, you are competing against other students in your program. So that's kind of how it's built. So we're bringing the partnerships, but you also have some responsibility to be able to set yourself up to get the job. So a lot of students build their resumes. They build their resumes by volunteering. They build their resumes by being very actively involved in their programs. They build their resumes by maybe having part-time jobs. One of the great things about Canada is you're allowed to work while you're studying. So you can apply for part-time jobs on campus, off campus. If you're working off campus, there's a bit of a limit with the government. So it's 24 hours a week during the school year and full-time during the holidays. So that's something to consider when you're looking at how to set yourself up for success when you look to apply for future co-op opportunities. But practicums are different. Practicums are technically guaranteed because we do have to place you in a specific place. So if your program has a practicum of option, for example, you'll notice if you're doing nursing, you will have a practicum work experience that's embedded in the program. And generally those are guaranteed because we are placing you and you do need that to graduate. So it is a mandatory requirement. Another general question that came in. Our applications are now open. So for anyone who has graduated or is graduating this year and you're looking to start next year, our applications are now open and we are sending out offers. So you are welcome to apply. All right, looks like, okay, a lot of your questions have been answered and a lot of them are very specific. So what I will do is I'll take this time to just say thank you so much for all of your great questions. I do want to highlight a couple more things. So if you would like to learn more about our programs, you can scan the QR code to learn more information about our programs. As you saw, we have a wide range of different programs, and our website does go into detail about some of the career paths that you can get with the program. It does also go into detail about some of the sample courses. So if you're curious about some of the courses that you can take, Perth mentioned some of the creativity he's been able to do in his course. You can learn more about that on our website. We also have a digital copy of our viewbook. Our viewbook does offer a lot of insight into what Carleton has to offer. So please take a look at our digital view book. Many of us are on the road right now. Many of our recruiters are on the road right now. So maybe many of us will be visiting your schools. If you're on Carleton 360, we'd be happy to let you know if we'll be visiting your school or your country, and we can set up some virtual, some in-person meetups so you can get a digital, actual physical copy of our view book if you'd like a physical copy. Our campus is absolutely amazing, and Anna touched on just the beauty of Ottawa and the beauty of our city. If you're curious to see the Carleton campus and you'd like to be able to kind of get an idea of how studying at Carleton would look like, you can also do a virtual tour. We'd love to show you our campus. You've got to hear from some of our ambassadors, and you can continue the conversation with them. Our ambassadors are available via the ambassador platform. So please scan this QR code or visit our website, and you can continue to ask them about their program experiences, their motivating factors. Feel free to connect with them after this conversation. They would be happy to share a lot more about their student experience in more detail. And if you have any questions for me, you're welcome to email me. I'm always happy to assist. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for the webinar today. We look forward to being able to support you as you to meeting your career goals. If you have any questions, any of us at our team are happy to help, and we have a lot of great resources on our website. Feel free to connect with us, and we hope to see you at some of our future events. Thank you for joining me today.